Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Khairunnisa Binti Johari Sham. My metric number is 1191397. Now, I will introduce you to our report program. Each and every one of us is often involved in some form of planning, whether you are coordinating an event or organization. Planning encompasses the definition of organizational objective or goals, the establishment of an overall strategy of how to achieve this objective, and the development of a comprehensive hierarchy of plans, integrating and coordinating the various activities. The content is this report is to understanding about the planning process used in Islamic management. An interview session was conducted with Dr. Muhammad bin Mustafa, the Chief of Operating Officer of the Kedah Zakat School Management Board, to find out more whether he practiced the planning technique and what he had used from the planning process to achieve the objectives or goals in his management. The report will provide the answer to the question that we have asked to the Chief Operating Officer of the Kedah Zakat School Management Board. Based on the interview that have done, we found that Kedah Zakat School Management Board has practiced some things related to planning process, which types of planning, Swot Analysis and other. From the details and information that we obtained, it shows that process planning is very important on every organization management to achieve objectives and goals.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Aqilah binti Hamdan and my number metric is 1192680. Okay, I would like to present about the planning. The planning can be defined as encompasses the definition of organizational objective or goals, the establishment of an overall strategy of how to achieve this objective, and the development of comprehensive hierarchy of plans, integrating and coordinating the various activities. Next is features of planning. All businesses follow a pattern of planning. The planning function of the management has certain special features. For the number 1, planning focus on achieving objectives. In the plans, specific goals are shown along with the activity to be carried out in order to achieve the goals. Number 2, planning is a primary function of management. Managerial functions are carried out in the framework of the plans drawn out. For the number 3, planning is pervasive. Planning is necessary at all management levels, as well as in all organization departments. Number 4, planning is continuous plans. Plans are prepared for a particular time period, maybe for a month, a quarter, or a year. Number 5, planning is futuristic. It is essentially includes looking ahead and preparing up for the futures. Number 6, planning involves decision making. It includes choosing between different alternatives and activities. For number 7, planning is a mental exercise. It requires application of the mind involving foresight, intelligence, imagination, and sound judgment. Besides that, for the number 2 is type of planning. Type of planning have several planning. Number 1 is operational planning. Operational plans are about how things need to happen. Number 2, strategic planning. Strategic plans are all about why things to happen. And then for the number 3, tactical planning. Tactical plans are about what is going to happen. And number 4, contingency planning. It's made when something unexpected happened or when something needs to be changed. Next is SWOT. It's all about SWOT. What is SWOT? SWOT is a scan of the internal corporate culture and external environment of an organization. Is an important aspect of the planning procedure for the development of a good strategy plan for an organization. In the SWOT, there is a internal environment and external environment. In the internal environment is strength and weakness. What is strength? Strength is of an organization are the resources and capabilities of an organization that can be utilized as a basic for development of a competitive advantages. And the weaknesses can be defined as the absence of particular strength of an organization may be viewed as its weakness. Next is external environment. In the external environment, there is opportunities and threats. Opportunities is external variable are likely to represent reason why your organization is to survive. C is the external element that could causes trouble for the businesses. That's all from me. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Asmah Radiah Binti Othman. My matrix number is 1191370. Today I will continue my part, which is about the practical. Based on the observation from the interview that we conduct, we found that Kedah Zakat Board and Kedah Zakat School Management Board practice some things related to planning, which are the types of planning, SWOT analysis and others. Regarding types of planning based on short term and long term, Dr. Faisal shared his opinion on his organization short term and long term planning that he used in the both organization. In terms of short term and long term planning, they have a dream, a vision where when they set a long term goals to become a world class superior Islamic financial institution. Then they put their plans on how one day Kedah Zakat can be a world reference from the point of view of Islamic social finance. So they put a long-term goals in the Zakat Kedah development 2020 until 2025. Then from a short-term points of view, of course, when they lay the foundation of a time frame within 5 years to achieve the targets, he will look at implementation from the angel buyer. Besides, when we refer to Dr. Faisal's company about their planning for contingencies, he explained that in their management, they have the risk. Risk management based on the outcome. If they mention post-mortem to see how the risk can be reduced, they adapt management based on pre-mortem. This pre-mortem is how one action they will look from a 360 degrees angles. When they brainstorm, of course they will analyze what the implication are in 360 degrees. In part of how to handle, what they see is how the action of the management level makes action based on what is in our control, or because the unexpected they cannot solve. But when they focus on what is in control, of course it gives a space and opportunity for them to do their best. Then, based on the organization that Dr. Faisal managed, there are several techniques used in planning the organization of Kedah Zakat Board regarding in strategic planning that they was follow the flow. First of all, they make an analysis of the existing data. Their original planning do PEST analysis, which means political, economic, social, and technological analysis to get a detailed data related to the demographic of the entire state or country or the world to see how they plan the work. Then they build what is called as a SWOT analysis to detail the initial data obtained from the PAST analysis earlier. As the result, they build a strategic plan based on the strategic plan model, namely mission, vision, objective, trust, and so on. Kedah Zakat Board and Kedah Zakat School Management Board use an Islamic management in their organisation, which is first, they make sure that their management does not conflict with Islamic law. Then they also have their own advisory committee on Sharia law and Sharia law chaired by Mufti of the Kedah government. It is enshrined in the Kedah Zakat Board enactment, which state that the management committee or members of the Zakat Board must consist mostly of religious group. In the human resource management takes into account how Islamic organisation work. That's different from the Kedah Zakat Board because they place it as a dakwah organisation. They focus on clothes that follow the Sharia, and there are some programs that they separate between men and women. They making a decision based on the maqasid Sharia. Thank you. That's all from me.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Azfar bin Muhammad Zaki. My number matric is 1191399. So next, I will present about critical review. So there are several questions that we asked CEO of Zakat Kedah, Dr. Faizal Mustafa. The first question is what extent are the long-term and short-term plans for the development of Kedah Zakat School? According to Mr. Faizal, the Kedah Zakat Board has set a period of 2020 to 2025 within which is around 5 years from now. Within 5 years, the Kedah Zakat Board has set a goals or target to be achieved, which is to become a world-class Islamic financial institution. He emphasized that the Kedah Zakat Board is making plans where one day the Kedah Zakat Board can be a world reference from the point of view of Islamic social finance. Meanwhile, from a short-term point of view, the Kedah Zakat Board takes 5 years where the assessment will be done according to 1 year within the 5 years. The assessment aims to see what goals and planning outcomes can be achieved within 1 year. Based on the books of Khalid, Ahmad and Fontaine, yes, this is a long-term planning and short-term planning, and this is further strengthened by the SMART criteria. They are specific, they are SMART concept. They are specific, measurable, acceptable, and realistic and time-bound in making a plan or goal for an organisation. So the planning implemented by the Kedah Zakat Board is a measurable plan and it is not impossible to be achieved. The second question is what are plans on behalf of Dr. Faizal to improve the quality of employees in the management of the Kedah Zakat School. Dr. Faizal state that to ensure the organizational excellence, he used the concept of 3P: people, process, and purpose. In this 3P situation, the main factor of the organisation is people or employees. This is because they are the prime cause or mover to the process to achieve the goals set by organisation. In developing a human resource, the most important thing in the organisation is that human beings are measurable based on KSA. What is KSA? KSA is stand for knowledge, skill, and attitude. All three need to be viewed holistically. Management from Islamic perspective emphasize priority on employees. As mentioned by Dr. Faizal, a person or employee is a prime cause and can also be considered as an asset. Therefore, the welfare of the employees needs to be emphasized. In addition, planning for the preparation of course and training should be done best in order to produce quality output and achieve organizational goals. Next, employees needs to master knowledge, skill, and praiseworthy morals like the moral of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who is the best example throughout life when in the process of mastering knowledge, skill, and morals in the course and training provided so that with this effort, Kedah State Zakat Board can achieve its main goal is to become the best institution of Islamic social finance in the world. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Abdul Azim bin Muhamad Hasan Sazali, matrix number 1192696. Question number 3. According to Mr. Faisal, how can the risk of unforeseen things happen, and how does Mr. Faisal strategize to take action to ensure that the planning that has been made will still achieve the goals of organization? According to Mr. Faisal, in this management, there's a lot of risk. Mr. Faisal also mentioned post-mortem to see how the risk can be reduced, and will be able to adapt management based on post-mortem. This post-mortem is one of our actions to look at from a 360-degree angle. When we brainstorm, we will be able to analyze what the implication are in 360 degree. In management, there are various catastrophic risks, the economic downturn, globalization, and now we are faced with the threat of various things that we feel in the unexpected risk. What they see is how the action at the management levels makes action based on what is in control, because the unexpected we cannot solve, but when we focus on what is in control, it gives a space and opportunity for us to do our best. In our opinion, the risk is always there. Like Mr. Faisal said, unexpected risks such as disaster and so on are unlikely to be resolved. But if we look at the risk that can be controlled, then there is an opportunity for us to come up with the best plan and be able to overcome those risks. Therefore, we can reduce the damage or loss suffered due to the risk that occur. Question number 4. What are the techniques used in planning in organization of the Kedah State Zakat Board? Mr. Faisal explained the technique used in planning Kedah Zakat Board is best political, economic, social, and technological analysis to obtain detailed data related to the demographic of the entire state or country or the world to see how to plan work. As a result of the data obtained from the initial survey, the Kedah Zakat Board used a technique called Swot Analysis to detail the initial data obtained from the past analysis yearly. Then, as a result of the analysis, the Kedah Zakat Board built a strategic plan based on the strategic plan model, namely mission, vision, objectives, trust, and so on, and assisted by UUM consultants. In management from Islamic perspective by Khalid Ahmad and Rodrigo Fontaine, an environmental scan encompasses the following components: an internal analysis of the organization, an analysis of the entire industry of which the organization is a part, task environment, and analysis of the external macro environment in terms of political, economic, social, and technological past aspect. The internal analysis is to identify the strengths and weakness of the organization, while the external analysis reveals the opportunities and threats. Moreover, this is also in accordance with one of the principles of planning based on Islamic perspective, namely consultation before decision making. The Prophet tells us that religion is sincere advice. Therefore, planning with Islamic perspective is much better. Question number 5. How does the Kedah State Zakat Board apply planning according to Islamic management in the organisation? From the management point of view, the Kedah Zakat Board sees how in making decision it is based on the maqasid syariah, how the collection of zakat and distribution of zakat is based on the maqasid syariah, how the management of zakat can take care religion, can take care of life, take care of intellect, take care of offspring, and also take care of property. This is basis for the Kedah Zakat Board in making decision in the top management meeting level. Encik Faisal further said that the Kedah State Zakat Board will look at it from a religious and legal point of view, and this is the reason when the Kedah State Zakat Board wants to approve something, it will bring it to the Sharia Advisory Committee, which is composed of religious scholars first. The principle brought by the Kedah State Zakat Board are in accordance with the principle of Shura. This is because something or an issue that occurs needs to be discussed, and it is necessary to get a consensus. In the Battle of Uhud, Rasulullah SAW carried out Shura with his army. Muslims achieved an initial victory until the battalion of archers positioned at the top of the mountain was of the opinion that the battle was already over and came down to join the chase, thus disobeying clear orders given yearly by the Prophet not to leave their position no matter whether victory or defeat is afoot. In this context, the Kedah State Zakat Board makes the Sharia Advisory Committee, composed of religious scholars and the Sahibus Samahah Mufti of the state of Kedah, as a reference on issues that arise. The result through the Shura will be applied in the organization of the Kedah State Zakat Board. This step will make this organization a Sharia compliance organization. At the same time, it also became a dakwah organization. However, the principle of Shura should not be violated or denied, because it will lead to damage and so on, as happened in the Battle of Uhud. Therefore, we must learn from the story of the Battle of the Uhud.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Amirah Shahmina Binti Ahmad Shamsuri. My number matric is 1191422. First, we know that planning means setting objectives and targets and formulating an action plan to achieve them. It is concerned with both ends and means what is to be done and how it is to be done. So, based on the observations, interview session with Chief Operation Officer of Kedah State Zakat Board, we found that its management does not conflict with Islamic law. For example, the Kedah Zakat Organisation emphasizes Sharia compliant clothing, and there are some programs segregated between men and women. In addition, we need to hire employees who have KSA. K means knowledge, S skill, and A attitude to improve the quality of employees in the management. In conclusion, we need to plan because it is the sunnah or path of the apostle. The story of Prophet Yusuf, as described in the Quran, can give us a clear lesson on the importance of planning for the future. The Quran will not tell this story just for reading alone, but as a lesson for people who think and believe in Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Prophet Yusuf was a man who was good at interpreting dreams, and the knowledge was known by the king of Egypt, and he was called to face for that purpose. The story is explained in the Quran, Surah Yusuf, verse 46. It means, Yusuf, O people who are very trustworthy, explain to us Takwil dream about 7 fat cows eaten by 17 cows, 7 twin stalks wheat, and 7 stalks that dry, so that I might return to them, that they may know. Next, from Surah Yusuf, verse 47, it means, then we come after that period 7 years of intense drought, which will consume the food you have prepared for it, except a little of what you keep, to be made into seeds. And lastly, from Surah Yusuf, verse 67, it means, and he said again, O my children, do not enter to the city of it from one door only, but enter to several different doors. And I, with my advice, cannot save you from a destiny that God has decreed. The power to determine something, cause and effort, is only certain for Allah. To Him I submit, and to Him should those who want to surrender. Thank you. That's all for me and my friends.